It's now less than 2 weeks until the London Lit Lab event on our many queer stories, and I'm going to be facilitating. I really hope you can join. There's still places available. We're going to be looking not only at the fluidity of our many queer stories, how we can use hybrid writing, how we can use through our poetry and prose, or the many different forms that allow us to express the stories perhaps that we've been too ashamed of writing, that we've vetoed for fear that they're not publishable. But we're also going to be using some coaching principles. I'm actually a qualified coach and I use storytelling in my coaching practice. We're going to be looking at how it could be more tender to ourselves as queer writers, what it is that we're holding back on, what constraints we've avoidably or unnecessarily placed on our writing. What are our impossible stories is one question that we're going to be posing. If we could write anything, if we could be our most radical, daring, ravishing selves, how could we write more boldly, bravely? What would that look like? All in 2.5 hours. Obviously, it's a bit of an ambitious workshop, and we've got every right to be ambitious. I am going to be looking at some reading examples, some reading extracts too. We're going to have Andrew Macmillan's Pandemonium, a brilliant poetry collection from last year. We're going to be looking at how we can queer the form and not just use queer content to inform our stories, but actually challenge the way in which we write and how we present our stories, the way in which we actually present ourselves to the world. Think about Maggie here with the Argonauts. And we're also going to look at about who are we writing for? Do we have to please? Do we have to satisfy? Or do we actually just need to be our most authentic selves? And in that regard, we'll be looking at Melissa Phoebos, who some of you may be aware of, who's written creative non-fiction. I am very much coming to this as a developing writer, as an emerging writer, one that's still learning, that I've been published, but I'm very keen to work with all of you to look at what are the everyday routine struggles, fears, anxieties we bring to our writing, and how can we banish them? Maybe not once and for all, but how can we actually banish them enough that we can write committed to our bravest, our many queer stories. I look forward to seeing you on February 5th with London Lit Lab.